Hello and welcome to Rough Cut Film Review. I've got a review of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. So I saw the trailers for this actually in the cinemas and thought, yeah, actually, do you know what? That looks like quite good fun. Tongue-in-cheek. That's quite witty. So what they needed here, to be honest, was a really light touch, and we've not got this. It's the sentiment of this film is absolutely stinky. I mean, the sentiment is horrible. I remember saying on the Skyfall review that despite problems, the sentiment on the new Bond film was bang on. Well, here the sentiment is bang off. It really stinks. I mean, it's just awful. It's absolutely rancid. So the premise behind this clearly is that vampires are real. They're primarily in the south, of the Confederate States. So the main slaveholding states. So what it does is it obviously ties up slavery with vampirism. This sort of thing has actually been done before. Now, if this was tongue-in-cheek, this could be quite entertaining, and I thought it was actually quite a fun idea. Sadly, it's depressing and patronising. So the film needs a light touch. That's it's a tongue-in-cheek joke, and it needs to understand that it's a tongue-in-cheek joke. So what we actually have is really heavy-handed and preachy, and it's just incredibly nonsensical. And the initial premise of the vampires and slavery falls down straight away because they throw in a couple of little bits there, and you think, hang on a second, that doesn't make any sense. They don't actually understand their own joke. So we start off, and Lincoln, as a child, he gets some terrible tragedy that, oh, how terrible for him. And then, he meets this bloke, and then he goes out kung fu fighting vampires, something to do with his childhood, and then towards the end it sort of goes, liberty is at stake, and then we get throughout the film this line repeating, which is something along the lines of, if one of us is a slave, we're all slaves. Now, this sounds fine, right? But it actually makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, and this film makes no sense. And I just keep coming back to that. They don't understand their own joke. They're just putting things up there, because they sound good. There's no thought behind it, and it's inexcusable, really. I mean, you could say, well, it's supposed to be a light-hearted bit of fun. It's actually not a light-hearted bit of fun. It's really not. This is all heavy stuff. There is no joke here. So toward the end of the film, spoiler alert, they show the Battle of Gettysburg. So we've got the brave Union soldiers against all odds and historical accuracy fighting the Confederates. But, oh no, suddenly we realise that there are vampires in the Confederate lines who then, so we're seeing all of these brave Unionist troops shooting stone dead all of these Confederates, who are, evil by association. But then, oh no, the vampires, they can't be shot by conventional bullets, and then they kill the Confederates. And it's just sort of these long lingering shots of these heroic Union soldiers. You think, what is going on here? What have you been reading? So, I mean, the slavery thing falls down really, really quickly. The concept just falls down. Abraham Lincoln, so he starts off and he's trained by this bloke, and there's this exciting, who is he? Oh, he's so mysterious. And then he's trained by some bloke to spin an axe. So we see Lincoln, there's sort of this montage scene of him spinning his silver axe. And it's like you're seeing a really 1970s kung fu film or something like this. And the director loves this. He thinks it's the coolest thing in the world. But you think, well, hang on a second, that looks completely useless. He's just sort of equating, oh, look, I can do this little trick. I can spin the axe round on my hand, and, it looks so cool. It's the kind of thing that a 7-year-old might, when I was 7 or 8 or something, I might have got a knife and, like, in the mirror sort of gone, pretending I'm a cool ninja or something. But it's completely pointless, completely useless, and just doesn't make any sense. So, we've got this idea absolutely rammed down our throat that they're fighting for freedom, so they have to make up all of this stuff, all of this nonsense to make it seem like the South are so evil and baddies and vampires and all this sort of thing. So, it takes such, there's a shot of Jefferson Davis doing a deal with the head vampire. And, and you just, so him and, such fine men as him, General Lee, and they're consorting with pure evil. And, obviously, slavery is a terrible thing. It's absolutely repugnant and all this sort of thing. But, you can't try and just pretend that, the South was fighting to be free from the Union. That was, so I'm sorry, it just doesn't, you've just got madcap nutsiness that makes absolutely no sense. So the direction is terrible. I mean, really appalling stuff. As I said, I mean the long lingering shots of, heroic soldiers. The stuff with Lincoln spinning an axe repeatedly. I mean, that scene comes up quite a lot. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. None of this makes sense. It's not even trying to be fun. It's trying to be quite preachy, and you think, what? Hang on. The actor who plays Lincoln is at best bland. I mean, that's actually being kind. And as they get older, they actually attach a lot of prosthetics to him. So they've seen, ye old timey photos of Lincoln, and of course they give him the hat and the mutton chops and all this sort of thing, and they go to great pains to make him look like Lincoln in the pictures. So, if you were to call the Scholastic Speakers Association of America, the Lincoln that would turn up, for your party would be brilliant. He'd be much better than this guy and much more convincing. Or, the other thing I was thinking of is maybe if you got a Madame Tussauds sculpture, wax sculpture of Elvis, and you put him on a stage, and then you played some of Elvis's hits through a PA system or something. That's pretty much the sort of level of realism that you're getting. And they try and pep up the story, and there's this pathetic plot twist with his wife, and it's so feeble-hearted, and it's just sort of, Abraham Lincoln is the perfect man in the world, look, everything's going wrong, but he's still so noble. So the film needed to be fun. It's not fun. It's actually trying to be incredibly preachy. It's trying to teach you something. That's just the madcap thing. It's completely irresponsible and just reprehensible. So it was very, very difficult to see this through to the end. It's absolutely foul-smelling, nasty garbage. I mean, I've seen some pretty poor films and done podcasts of them. And I've got to say, this was the worst. There is nothing redeemable in this film whatsoever. It's supposed to be... The concept should be funny. It's not funny. It's not trying to be funny. It's actually trying to teach you something. It's, it's coming across fairly hoity-toity. And, God, it's a mess. It's a real mess. I'd love to see what you think of this one. I mean, this is, I thought The Watch was bad. This makes The Watch look, like film of the year. I'm not kidding. This was awful.